Shruti Smriti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavat Padam Shankaram Loka Shankaram. I salute Bhagavat Pad Shankaracharya, who is the repository of the Shrutis, the Vedas, Smritis, and the Puranas, who is the benefactor of the world and is compassionate. Self-knowledge, Atmabodha. We are on verse 57. Those who are following it along with their text, realize that to be Brahman, which now is being oft repeated in these final verses, which is non-dual, indivisible, one and blissful, and which is indicated by Vedanta as an irreducible substratum after the negation of all tangible objects. I'll try to simplify. As he's saying, like in the past few verses, as he's saying, realize that to be Brahman. Now we have discussed what is Brahman. The reality that is indicated in Vedanta. It comes from the root bri, to grow. That's the most extensive. That is the reality. The word indicates it is not the reality. Reality has to be beyond words and beyond every indicators also. So realize that to be the Brahman, the reality, which is non-dual. This is again, because we see everything as duality. I, you, this world of objects, and this whole world is nothing but just subject and objects. Yet, we have a kind of intuitive knowledge about there has to be something. If there's something dual, has to be some non-dual. Now I'm talking about duality in the sense of subject, object, etc. There are other forms of duality. God is eternally separate from me. I am eternally separate from God. And the world, I don't know how this comes into being. So the world is there, but God is separate. And so these are most philosophies and religions are dualistic religions. It's here Vedanta is non-dual in the sense of it eradicates all differentiation between the self, the Atman, and the reality, Brahman. Now for many it is shocking. The shocking thing is, what about me? Where do I go? How do I exist? What do I do? But as you keep on practicing Advaita Vedanta, you will understand that your real nature is that reality. So we'll take each word up one by one. So, which is not indivisible, obviously. If it is non-dual, it is indivisible. They do not say Advaita means not two. So this is to say, it is non-dual, indivisible. Repeating the same thing. One, the same thing. And here it is blissful. Where the reality has to be, as we have discussed, it is consciousness, it is existence, and it is bliss. You can't take this away. How is this? Yes, that's the Vedantic explanation of the reality as Satchidananda, existence, consciousness, bliss. And which is indicated by Vedanta as an irreducible substratum after the negation of all tangible objects. Now here it is all tangible, these are all tangible objects. You negate everything. Now, how do you negate everything? You're going to destroy? No, at least intellectually and spiritually you can negate. Now, there's a technical term that is used by Shankaracharya, and it is vyavritti rupena. It is, simply put, it's a negation. And negation in the sense of, it's more like co-absence. Now suppose there is a pot, a clay pot. Okay. Now there is a clay pot, yes, we can understand. There is a pot and there is clay. The reality of the pot and the reality of the clay coexist, are co-present. So you cannot separate these two things, the clayness and the potness. Okay, this is a technical term. This is called anvaya. Just remember, it's like it's a positive explanation of things. If this is there, this also. You see smoke on the hill, you infer that there has to be some fire there. There is an invariable concomitance or invariable presence of something. If this is there, this also has to be there. If there is a pot, the clay has to be there. Now we are talking about these philosophies were designed, thought of in ancient India when there was only clay pots and etc. etc. They used these illustrations. So we get this all right. Now there is, as the word uses, vyatireka, co-absence, co-presence and co-absence. And it says, okay, here is a pot. It's made of clay. So, and the pot is broken or it's smashed, or it even before the pot can be manufactured. The clay does not depend on the pot. The pot depends on the clay. The potness can be eliminated, negated. What is real is a substance, clayness. So clay can exist. The clay is here. It is true. The pot is not true. But yeah, we get this idea. So when we see this world of experience, smell, taste, touch, sight, imaginations, emotions, everything. It is just experiences. Now, when you go to deep sleep, what happens to your experiences? They all negated. But you continue to exist. Of course, depends on how deep you sleep. But deep sleep is a negation of everything. To just give an example. So this negation is what Vedanta uses to show that after you've negated all the things that have been imagined or the things which are there, which will be broken after some time. Like this building wasn't there some years ago, 100 years ago. It won't be there 100 years after that. So it wasn't existent there. But the materials were there. So the world, as we see the world of experience, there is something which is a substratum. And out of that substratum, something has emerged. Suppose you negate all the emergent qualities. What remains? The substratum. So what is the substratum? The substratum is Brahman, the reality. And what are all these? The pots and the pans and the spoons and the forks and the knives? They can be negated. The clay, the reality does not depend on this pots and pans and forks and knives and spoons and you and me and everything around. It doesn't depend. Reality is reality. And we start with intellectually negating the okay. And then we come to the fact that this is how Vedanta says. That's why he says, Atad vyavritti rupena. That's why he has translated as the irreducible substratum after the negation of all tangible objects. Okay. So all tangible objects have been negated or dismissed as what? Now this is what it, as unreal. Now when you say unreal, let's put it like this. Just a simple explanation. I gave this building did not exist 100 years ago. And after 100 years ago, not 150 years after this, it might not exist. So that which is constantly transforming cannot be real. We want a real that is unchangeable. If a reality keeps on changing, keeps on transforming, then that cannot be the reality. And that is what is called in Vedanta mithya, an appearance. These are like all appearances, all these are appearances on the substratum. You remove all the appearances, and what do you get? The reality. Now, in Vedanta might say, oh my God, these guys are all so negative. They dismiss everything or dismiss everything. Oh no, you're only, that's only half the story. We dismiss it to come to the heart of reality. So the process is not this, not this, not this, not this. What is the self, is the Atman, my body? Because I see if I fall into a swoon or I'm fall into a deep sleep or the body is there, but I'm not conscious of it. So this cannot be the reality. There has to be something else. So I start eliminating one by one the idea that I am the body. Now in Vedanta there are these 5 sheets, 5 coverings. The coverings are, the first is the physical body. It's made of food, it rises from food, it exists in food, and it will become food. That's why it's called a food sheath. And there is something that animates this food sheath. That is a vital force. That is called a prana. Now, this prana enlivens everything. Enlivens food. So you can find, otherwise it's just a piece of dull, dead matter. It is prana that comes and kind of enlivens it. And we say, oh, what? That's life. Yes, that's life. That is vibrating constantly. At the same time, when I fall asleep or in some, I'm not actually aware of my vitality, my life, vital force. I'm not. Then a more deeper layer is the layer of the mind. Well, the mind also, imagine if there was no mind, then your vital force, the prana, and your body would be useless. So what's the use of this? So the mind is important. And at the same time, the mind is nothing but it's working on the principle of seeking knowledge. Because why? It does not know. It is nothing but steeped in ignorance. Ignorance is something that has the mind tries to push it away. Like you ask somebody, do you know calculus? What's that? You'll make such a face and, no, I stayed away from that calculus and you're asking me that. There are some who knows, but those guys might not know something else. So the mind itself is limited. So then you can eliminate that also as a reality. Because sometimes the mind is strong, sometimes the mind is weak, sometimes the mind is happy, sometimes the mind is blissful. Constantly, this is constantly changing. So that also. Then there's something called intelligence. Oh, yes. We are so intelligent. Yes, of course. That intelligence is that consciousness here within us. And that is the light that illumines the mind and the vital force as well as the body. So that intelligence also is mutable. Because in my waking state, it is different. And when I fall asleep, and when I'm dreaming, and it's slightly different. And when I fall asleep and go into deep sleep, there is not God. So that also cannot be the reality. Then there's another one called the sheath of bliss. Oh, I have a ice cream. And I say, wow, that is, yeah. And then after eating a lot of ice cream, I say, nah, I want a cookie now. That's at the background of everything. So if it was permanent, you would have wanted, you could have got it from eating ice cream only. What do you get? No, nah. The reaction is the same, but you need different objects. So you keep on eliminating. This is not the reality. This is not the reality. This is not absolute reality. Sorry, I should. This cannot be the absolute reality. Because these are just transformations. They're constantly being transformed. The body was never there, now it is born. It has been growing and growing and growing, and you know where it's going. Everybody knows that. And so, whatever gets transformed, why do things suffer change? Because of So there's something called time-space and causation. No changes can take place without time and space. It has to be within time and within space. Oh, it took 2 years. Oh, I see. And it happened here. I have seen it. Oh, well, okay, fine. This time and space. This time and space. It's like in the philosophers used to call it Desh, Kal and Nimitta, time, space. That's like according to Einstein and according now it is the 4th dimension. And then what about the 3 other dimensions? Oh, that also is decided a long time back. It is called Desh, Kal, Nimitta, the cause. Everything is the result of something preceding it as a cause. This table is the effect of something else. What was that? Oh, it was the tree. Oh, I see. Everything has a cause. So it's a long chain of cause and effect, and cause and effect, and cause and effect, and cause, all working under the laws of time and space. So these are the laws of time, space, and causation. They are not different. What we find in Vedanta, which we have to actually try to understand it in our own consciousness. Time, space, and causation are one entity appearing as three. Space is also the material. Now, thank God for all these modern researchers. Space, the fabric of space is curved and curled and all these things. So, time, space is nothing but another form of a higher form in which all changes take place. Every change, everything evolves and then dissolves. So when you start negating all changes, okay, these changes, this time, space and causation, Desh, Kal, Nimitta, is what is called Maya. What is that? Now, we won't go into a big discussion on Maya because we have already spoken about Maya in our previous verses leading up to this. So you cannot say it is real, you cannot say it is unreal. You cannot say it is one, you cannot say it is many. It's a very strange, the paradoxical, you can say, state of existence. Yeah, sometimes we feel good and sometimes we feel bad. And sometimes we feel happy and sometimes we feel sad. And sometimes we feel brave and sometimes we feel cowardly. And sometimes you can exhibit the most unselfish behavior. And at times we will become so selfish. So we are swinging between this and that and this and that. This contradiction, these things are there not only in all matter, in our bodies, in the world, in trees and plants and birds and animals and me, you, in the mind and everywhere. So this is Maya. Suppose then you say, oh, then this cannot be real. No, not possible. Yeah. Why? Because we are seeing the whole thing. Somehow we hold on to a particular thing like, this is real. This is real. And then I find it slipping between my fingers and going away. Then you have to keep on negating. And this is where it becomes extremely, you can say, tough going. For those who want to be a thoroughgoing Vedantis, you have to negate then your own individual existence. Nah. People, they talk about Vedanta. But then what happens? What happens to me? And everybody thinks like they can crack that. You know, that's the tipping point where if you can do that, you know what happens next? You become infinite. Yes. And where is that? As we have discussed it, you realize your infinite nature here. But it's difficult. Once Swami Vivekananda comes to Dakshineshwar to meet Sri Ramakrishna, and Sri Ramakrishna was so happy. He had prayed and wanted some fit disciple, a recipient of all his experiences and his knowledge, and he went and rushed and touched Swami Vivekananda. And he was a young boy, you know. And he's saying, with my eyes open, I see the floor, the walls, the ceiling, the doors and windows of the room whirling and merging into space. And then he's saying my own individuality along with that. In a void. Suddenly, he's standing there, it touches him, and everything vanishes. It's like, and then he cries, "What are you doing to me? I've got my father at home." Sri Ramakrishna, okay, touches him, and he's saying, and that touch brought everything back. Huh? What was that? Was he hypnotized? No, there's no hypnotism. Vedanta, we studied all that hypnotism and all. Swami Vivekananda says Vedanta does not believe in hypnotism and all that. It asks you to, you get dehypnotized. Is it some magic? This was an experience that he gave. He wanted to give him the highest experience, and he wasn't ready. All of us think, yeah, we can, we are ready for it. And then, one time, Swami Brahmananda Raja Maharaj, he was meditating there. And he was complaining that I'm not getting any spiritual experience. What is this? And then he was meditating, and suddenly from the temple of Kali, a stream of light started pouring out and coming towards him. He saw that light and he got up and ran away. He comes to Sri Ramakrishna and is saying, you just said that you're not getting any spiritual experiences, and then when it happens, then you get frightened and you run away. Something like this. So most of us are like that only. We can get, we want it. But one has to be established completely in this conviction. That process of, no, this is not the reality. So he has given a few, you can say, notes here, negation. The reference to the negative method of Vedanta for arriving at truth. Compare, quote, next follows the description of Brahman, not this, not this. Neti, neti. Atah adesha, neti, neti. Not this, not this. Not the physical, not the subtle, not the causal, not. And then another, there is no diversity whatsoever in it. He goes from death to death who seems to see diversity in it. So what is this? If you can see the one reality in the many, like there is so much diversity. The Vedanta says you take it up, when you negate everything, you're negating the limiting adjuncts. You don't see that one reality which is there behind all the five coverings. They want you to see that reality. Starts with inferring it. Once you infer, and then slowly, that conviction grows. And after the conviction grows, then you read this scriptures and the conviction even grows further, because that's an evidence. Scriptural testimony. And after that, one day, the dream will break. So it's dream-like. This what? Not the reality. The reality is the reality. But all appearances above it are like dream-like. So once you see, you understand, there is a one substance, clay, that is appearing as the many. You have understood Vedanta. You are convinced. So what happens with this knowledge? What happens? Right? You will find out that you are beyond birth, beyond death, you are immortal, you are eternal, etc., etc. You get all that. You are that existence, you are that consciousness, you are that bliss. So what Vedanta is trying to say, trying to take you to the heart of reality. You don't just swim on the surface. Go down deep. Like Sri Ramakrishna will say, dive deep, O my mind, dive deep in the ocean of God's beauty. So, and we find that this is what actually Vedanta is leading you to. So, first you start going deeper. How do you go deeper into these various layers? You go deeper through meditation. That is the only way. And this is why Vedanta has been emphasizing that. Yeah, oh, it's very difficult to meditate. Actually, it isn't. And then once you can see, if you can take off all the distracting elements, meditation becomes natural. We may think, oh, meditation is unnatural. No, meditation is unnatural. This world of restlessness, this running about, jumping about, that is unnatural. We have come away from our own natural state. And we feel it. When we are stressed and we are anxious and we are depressed, we feel that's not a natural state of the body. The body wants to come back to its natural state. And meditation is something like that. All this restlessness that's happening, nobody wants to be restless. Hey, I want to be restless. I want to be furious. I want to be angry. What kind of nonsense is that? I want to be calm. Everybody seeks peace. Everybody seeks joy. Everybody seeks, you can say, bliss. Everybody is seeking love. And this is what it is. Finally, we find that all these things are there. It's our real nature. And that real nature has emerged from that reality. So this one is appearing as the many. What do you want? Well, you want a clay or you want a pot? I can do with both. Sure, you can yeah, of course. Once you know the reality of the pot, it's clay. You got it. And this is what is called the experience of Saguna Brahman, Brahman with qualities. That's perfect, all right. Once you know from where all these things, you know the root of this universe. But now where do we go to find that? Where do you go to search that? And here Vedanta comes. You don't have to go anywhere else but in your own heart. In the deepest part of your being, in your heart, there is that great degree of reality that is shining there. And we find this, if you can get it there, you've got it. The whole idea is to get through meditation into that point where you get it. So it is indivisible. It is one. It cannot be, the Brahman outside is different from the Brahman inside. It cannot. It's one. It's indivisible. And then it's non-dual. How do you can get it here, you can get it everywhere. Sri Ramakrishna used to say, if you get it here, you get it everywhere. So now the question comes, is this that infinite reality? And Vedanta here will come and step in. Yes. So I am not an individual anymore. You are the universal. That's what the Vedanta has been keeping on harping over and over. We are universal beings and dreaming that we are individuals. You can get that. Then you have got Vedanta. So this is the process. As I realize that to be Brahman, which is non-dual, and the word is Advayam, and indivisible, Akhandam, Anandam, bliss, Ekam, one. Yattad Brahma iti avadharayat. Understand this to be Brahman, which is non-dual, which is one, which is indivisible and blissful. And what you're experiencing is exactly opposite of this. Yeah. We are there. It is dual, it is divisible, it is all painful. Oh. And one? No. I am only one. The rest everybody are a trash. That is. So this is the method of co-presence and co-absence. Anvaya Vyatireka. Say, if there is one, there has to be something else, and something else, and something else, and something else. And then in the Vyatireka, the negation is, there's one. It does not matter if there's nothing else. If there's no pot, so what is that to the clay? This is the gist of it. And it's a Vedanta, the philosophical system of the Hindus. Oh, okay. That is, it's everybody. Yeah. It's a system for everybody. It embodies both the essence and conclusion of the Vedas. Generally speaking, it is represented by the Upanishads, the Bhagavad Gita and the Brahma Sutras with their commentaries. So these are just the three principal texts. There are thousands of texts. Like this is one text. Okay. So we will stop here for any questions. Before you go, there's tomorrow, Sunday. Sunday we have a talk at 10 a.m. The signs of an authentic guru. So this is a kind of a popular demand. Somebody has. Okay. And so that is there. And so please go to our website to see the other programs there. Swami, can we pray to the Holy Mother for pratyaya? Sure, of course. Pratyaya is the drawing in of the sense organs. It's a stage in the 8-limbed yoga. Yama, Niyama, Asana, Pranayama, Pratyaya. Pulling it, Pratyahara. So it's pulling it. Like the example given, like a tortoise, suppose there is some danger, it will pull in its limbs. Similarly, for the yogi to start the practice of yoga, this is, one must be able to pull the senses from the. Now, since we don't have those limbs of a tortoise, what is it? The senses have to be put in. Bhagavad Gita and other scriptures will say, merge the speech in the mind and merge the mind in the intellect. Yached bang manasi pragnya tad yached jnana. So it is. So pulling in. So before the word can come out, hey, wait, pull it. Sometimes it takes a long time. The mind, the senses go out, pull it back in. It goes out again, pull it back in. It goes out. If it goes 100 times, pull it back in 100 times. If it goes in 1,000 times, pull it back in. This is practice. That's why you say, without that, forget about yoga, high states of yoga and all that. People who have not practiced pratyahara cannot become yogis. Okay? So, you can pray to the Holy Mother, of course. She will let you. She will help you. Because it's a struggle. It's just making counter habits of what we are used to. What was it about Swami Vivekananda that made him panic when he experienced the oneness? I tried to explain it. The dissolution of one's being, a dissolution of one's identity. That people think Advaita, we can go and jump inside. It's not so easy. You have to fortify yourself long before you can come to that stage. Swamiji was there, he just, he got, Sri Ramakrishna touched him and he caught him off guard. That same Swami Vivekananda later on saying, please, 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 please give me that experience again. Then Sri Ramakrishna, you finish off all your other duties and tie up all your loose ends, then you come to me. Then he got it again. Yeah, he was ready then. Okay. So, okay, there is there's no question right further. Okay. Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Tat Sat Shri Ram Krishna Arpanamastu.